pregnancy and infant loss events almost annually. But this is our second year hosting a virtual event. So we welcome you. We do have a very amazing speaker with us that'll be sharing some words with us later on today. My friend, Shayla Johnson, she is with us and she'll be speaking with us. I'll share the program that we'll be having today. It is nothing long. It is short, sweet, and simple. But most importantly, the point and the purpose of these events are to just raise awareness and provide a platform for those that are on this lost journey, to let them know that they don't have to do it alone. So again, I welcome you all, and give me one good minute here and we will go ahead and get started. So just a little bit of background about Miracle Speaks before we go ahead and call on our poem to be read by none other than Karana X. So Miracle Speaks was founded in 2017 by myself. I created the nonprofit Miracle Speaks out of my own experience with losing my firstborn Miracle at 19 weeks pregnant. This was 11 years ago now. And so that journey of trying to redefine who I was as a young woman, and trying to understand, well, was I still a mother because I experienced a miscarriage with my firstborn? That journey of loss, grieving, and healing led me to create Miracle Speaks, the nonprofit. And so that is what led us here to today. I am someone who I don't take it for granted that I am on this journey, and I try to leave myself to be an open book, especially when it comes to my loss. And so I'm super excited just to share the space with you all. If you are here, you can also send out this link directly to someone else who is not here, and they will be able to still access this. They don't have to register, I don't believe. But you can send out this link. So maybe someone that is not on, you think they might be interested or should tune in, you can send out the link. If you need assistance with that, let me know. I could also put the link in the chat for you to send out to them as well. But I want to go ahead and get started. So we're going to have a poem reading by my mother-in-law, Sister Karana X. I am, after we have that poem read by her, then we'll go into introducing our amazing speaker, Shayla, and then we'll go on from there.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum, family. Sister Karana X, and this is a poem that I wrote for my daughter-in-law. Yeah, it's actually a poem from Miracle to her. It's called Just for My Mom. I want to thank you, Allah, for my wonderful mother, for she has held onto our love like none other. She has remembered me and thought about me when I faded away in the wind. She continued to shed a tear for me time and time again. So this is a poem that I'm writing to you, Mom. These are my feelings that I just could not subdue. Hello, my dear mother. How have you been? I'm always thinking about you, and you're my very, very best friend. I'm 7 years old today, and I'm so grateful unto you for not allowing our love to fade away. I know that I am your very firstborn, and I'm sorry for making your heart become torn. Even though I'm not physically there, we continue to have a special love to share. And don't think that I'm not watching how you take good care of my sisters and brothers. You put a smile on my face because you're such an awesome, awesome mother among mothers. So once again, I just want to thank you for the bond that we share, even though I'm simply not physically there. I love you, Mom. Miracles, Michelle Alea Pratcher, 221 to current. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Sister Karana, for reading that amazing poem. And that was actually written by her. I asked her to write a poem. If you listened, it was Miracle's 7th birthday. And I asked her to write a poem really as in a conversation from Miracle to me. And that poem literally resonates with me. I thought it was in Miracle's memory box, but it actually lived on my mirror on my dresser. So that's where it stays. So thank you again for reading that poem. And so now I want to talk about a little bit about why we chose the pursuit of self identity after loss, and what that means. So it sounds so deep. And so, really, what led me to that is I thought about my own journey with after losing Miracle, and I thought about having to figure out how do you move forward and who am I moving forward? Am I Michelle? Am I Shelly? Am I the mother of Miracle? Who am I and what does that look like? And I remember a lot of the time moving forward and kind of through that grieving process, a lot of the times I was so unsure of what the next step or what the next day looked like. I didn't know if I would be able to carry a child again, because in our head, when we experience a loss, for some, we go to, we'll never be able to be a mom again. That guilt leads us to believing like that was the only opportunity. And for some, that is their reality. But in loss, you go through those feelings. And so for me, I struggle with who am I? And so every day I tried to put my foot in front of the other, but even in that, felt so lost, even still. And so for me, it was important to kind of bring the conversation regarding pregnancy and infant loss back to the mothers, back to the fathers, back to the parents of loss. Because a lot of the times we, especially when you're grieving, you're listening to so many other things and so many other people around you that it's hard to sit with yourself and listen to yourself. So how do we get back to me after loss? Is it possible to even go back to who I was before that loss? And so that this topic to me, it resonated with me. And so I felt like, let's bring the conversation back to the parents. Let's shift it back. Yes, we're going to honor our angel babies. And yes, we're going to love on them and always remember them. But let's put the attention back on the parents and kind of pour into them as to how can I find myself after experiencing loss? What does that look like? Is there rules for it? Is there tips for it? What does that look like? And so today I'm really excited to have my friend, my girl Shayla, with us today. Shayla has been with me since the beginning. And when I say beginning, me and Shayla go back all the way to Whitaker days. Like we go back in time. But she's always been a part of like my little village that always pushed me. She has always been there every step of the way, especially when I launched Miracle Speaks. Any live I was doing or anything, she always, even when she moved away, she always included herself and participated and supported even from afar. And I will always appreciate her forever and ever. And so when I was looking for someone to speak for today's event, I was like, you know what? Let me see what Shayla is gonna say, because she's stepping into her own, especially with her own story regarding loss. So she has been stepping into sharing that openly more. And so I knew I just wanted somebody to be able to provide this perspective of a parent of loss, but also from a professional standpoint. How do we move forward? What tips or what advice or what does she have to share with us that may help us on this journey? And even if it's not for us, maybe it's for someone else we know. We're speaking about pregnancy and infant loss, but the pursuit of self-identity after loss could pertain to any loss of job, loss of family, loss of house, loss of anything that had value to us. So at this time, I'm going to have Shayla go ahead and introduce yourself and begin.
Okay, hi guys, ladies and gentlemen. I want to say first, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak, especially professionally. I would have never thought I would be talking to a host of people so soon. So I do thank you for that. Like Michelle said, we go way back. It's been a very long time coming. So I do appreciate her growth and her seeing my growth as well. That means a lot to me. You know, people can look at you and just be like, oh, that's from back in the day. But she sees and recognizes my growth and my evolution. So I appreciate that so much. But yes, I am Shayla. I currently reside in Houston, Texas, no longer in Portland. I just graduated from Houston Graduate School of Theology with my master's in counseling and in divinity. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So yes, so professionally speaking, I will be tackling this topic. I will not be before you long. Um, I will not be before you long. But I do want to, or I do hope that what I do say touches someone in some way and they can take it either for themselves, put it in the pocket, or deliver it, you know, to someone else and be helpful to them. And like Michelle also stated, I have also experienced my own loss in 2009. And I feel like that was the one of the things that connected me so much to Michelle. And ever since my loss and then her loss as well, I was like, yep, Belly's gonna be right there by my side. She's me and Belly right there, even though we're so far apart. But I appreciate her so much for starting the group or whatever. I have gotten so much encouragement and push and drive from all of her words and all that she has been doing, so I can tell my story and be more confident in my story and speaking up. She has helped me so much. So I appreciate you for that. Okay, so when I do some type of study or when I talk about different things or topics, I like to define words so everyone can just be on the same page as to what things mean. So I broke down the main words and the topic, the pursuit of self-identity after loss. So grief, deep sorrow, especially that caused by someone's death. Psychology today describes it or defines it as grief is the acute pain that accompanies loss because it is a reflection of what we love. It can feel all encompassing. Grief is not limited to the loss of people, but when it follows the loss of a loved one, it may be compounded by the feelings of guilt and confusion, especially if the relationship was a difficult one. And then pursuit, the action of pursuing someone or something. Following, to catch or to attack, is pursuit. Self-identity, to recognize one's potential and qualities as an individual, especially in relation to social context. Self-identity can also, or another word for that can also be self-worth, personal identity, self-understanding. What I like most is self-worth. I like to use that word the most. And then there's also loss, the fact or process of losing something or someone, to lose, to be deprived of, or cease to have or retain. When we talk about grief, it looks so different to everyone. No one's grief process is the same. No one's grief process will look the same. So coming out of that or processing through it will not look the same for everyone either. So there's never going to be what I believe, there's never going to be a step-by-step process on how to grieve, a step-by-step process on how to move through your grief. Of course, there's like guides or whatever, but when it comes to like step one, do this, step two, do that, it's never linear because we all process differently and we're all different people. Yes, there are 5 stages of grief and we move through those however we need to move through them. But it's not like, I'm gonna be angry now, I'm gonna be in denial next, I'm a bargain later. That may all hit you in one day, or it may hit you step by step, the next day, but it's never, it's not like goals to reach, steps, each step, but it's a process. Everything is a process. And I know sometimes people don't like the word process because it takes time, but it does take time. It takes time, and it's on your own timetable. No one can rush you through that either. I was reading a friend's post, and she just lost two significant people in her life, and she was saying how sorry if she is different. She was apologizing for being a little different maybe during this time, but it's her time to process. And I was like, don't apologize for being different or even processing, because you just lost two huge people to you. No one can tell you how to process that. No one can tell you how to act or behave. Of course, we want you to be in a healthy state, do things, that's not harmful to you or to anyone else, but no one can tell you how to process your emotions or how to feel or how to act or behave. Grief is grief for everyone. And with that, finding out who you are after grief is also going to take time. That's also a process. And that's one where you have to sometimes sit with yourself and allow yourself time to not know what's going to happen next. Like, it's okay to be uncertain. And I know we don't like to be uncertain. We like to have everything planned out. We like to know what's coming next, but life is uncertain. And we have to be okay with not knowing if we will be the person that we was before the loss, or if we're going to be someone new, or if we're going to be someone different. All that takes time. So allowing yourself the space to figure it out and be okay with not knowing. I think the unknowing is what trips us up sometimes. But it's not going to look like anyone else's pursuit of happiness after, or self-identity after loss. It's not going to look like somebody else's. Somebody may process differently or become a whole new person afterwards, but yours may be totally different. And it just depends on how you choose to process through and the time that you allow yourself. And I feel like time is key. And I think some people don't like the saying, what is it? Is it healing? No. What takes time? I forgot. Time heals all wounds.
Yeah.
Some people don't like that saying, time heals all wounds. And I understand that. I can see why they don't like it, but I feel like there's more to it. Time heals all wounds if you allow yourself to heal, if you allow yourself to process. If you don't allow yourself to go through the emotions and go through the self-discovery, go through that process, then you're not going to heal. You're not going to move forward. It's still going to be just as if everything just happened, if you're not willing to move forward. And moving forward can be tough, because you may feel like if you move forward, then you're giving up on what you lost, or if you move forward, you're not honoring who you lost or what you lost. But moving forward, it's life. Life moves forward. So in a healthy way, we have to also, and in your moving forward, you can still honor who you lost or what you lost. Yeah, so it can change you. Loss can change you in a good way, in an unhealthy way, but we gonna steer towards the healthy way of things. So I think self-awareness is key, knowing your triggers, and I feel like a lot of people are on this triggers movement right now, but knowing your triggers, know what sets you off, or what brings about your emotions, not so you can steer away from them, but so you can help yourself heal and prepare for what's coming. Like if you know that certain situations or topics bring about an emotion in you that may take you back to a darkness, you can work on those things, not avoid them. Work on why it takes you back to a dark place. Work on why it may trigger you, not necessarily to avoid it, but so that you can continue to heal within, and allowing yourself to um, become more self-aware, not just for your triggers, but for what makes you happy, what brings you joy, what brings you peace. Those things allow you to know more of who you are. And as you become to know more of who you are, you can move forward in the process of grief. And then you can move forward in discovering more of, of course, who you are. um, but I think that is like the biggest part of finding yourself after loss. You still are on a process of healing and the process of grief, because I feel like grief can take a long time. No one can tell you when your grief should stop. As long as you are moving healthily through your grief, there's no one that can be like, okay, you've been talking about them for a while now. Like, no, get those people from around you. That's not supportive. Because the person or the thing was a part of you, a piece of you. You experienced a lot with them or it, a job or whatever the case may be. But so you have time, or you have the space, or allow yourself the space to process it, and allow yourself the space to grieve. Nobody can tell you not to do that. I think one of the biggest things Michelle was talking about, guilt and shame. I think one of the biggest pieces is forgiving yourself. That was a huge thing for me. Many probably don't know. I don't know who knows my story or not. Quickly, I had an abortion out of a very, very toxic and unhealthy relationship. And with that came a lot of guilt and shame. And I like shunned myself away from my community, people that I know would support me. I was also extremely isolated from my community. So I already felt like I couldn't reach out to them because of the environment he created. But I felt even more so I couldn't reach out to anybody because it's an abortion, girl. Everybody know that's a no-no, especially in the church. So I was really not doing nothing, not talking to nobody, all of that. So it took time for me to forgive myself or whatever, even though I knew God forgave me. He forgave me already. I asked for forgiveness. He forgave me. And I believe that. But it was harder for me to forgive me. And that was a huge step in me moving forward, a huge step in me moving on to discovering who I am now. And with that came boundaries too, and defining what my relationships will look like moving forward, what I will tolerate, what I will not. Also building my confidence, my self-esteem, doing all these things to know myself better and to set a better standard for myself. So there's different levels on this journey that you will go through as you begin to become more self-aware and spending time with yourself, that will allow you to discover what will you take, the boundaries you will take, what's healthy to you, what's not healthy to you, what brings you joy, what doesn't, what brings you peace, what doesn't. allowing yourself to have those moments of reflection. Like, it is still okay for you to reflect on your babies. It's still okay for you to reflect on your loss or whatever, and incorporate them into you moving forward. It could become something that you do every night to honor your baby, something you do every week, every month, or something like that. You can still incorporate them into your lives. That's not, pushing them off to the side because you feel like you have to move forward. They were a part of you. So they're not going to really go anywhere, even though they're physically not there, but they're not going to go anywhere. They're still in your mind. They're still in your heart. So doing something to honor them in a physical form, whether even if that's journaling. I feel like that is one of the most helpful ways of processing is journaling. And Michelle always adds great journaling tips to help you start your process. I think they're fantastic. But ways to journal, and even outside of journaling, I think therapy is the greatest tool ever. Not just because I'm a counselor, but but because it is someone that you will gain to trust. Hopefully, if you don't trust them, go to somebody else. If you any type of weird vibe, go ahead and go to somebody else. Like, you don't got to stay there. But hopefully, somebody that you gain to trust, that you can actually be your most vulnerable with, outside of your partner, if you have one, but someone that you can be vulnerable with and explain, or just talk about your process, how you're feeling, be that sounding board or whatever. And it's okay to just go there and just let it all out. Like, if you don't have any other place to do that, that's a great place to do that. And they give you tools to help process through your emotions, your grief, and all of those good things. So counseling is great. I will always say that. But outside of that also, outside of that, finding a way to stay active. I think we can get stuck in our emotions, and our emotions can make us feel physically stuck. Like, we can't get up and move. And I feel like that's also a part of like the sadness or whatever that takes place in grief. But I feel like the movement, even if it's outside for a walk or going to the park or whatever, just moving outside of your usual norm, gaining an activity, like jogging or biking or boxing or anything like that. Also letting out your frustrations, like boxing. I think that's fantastic as well. You can't let out your anger anywhere else. Boxing is great. Or jogging or anything like that. Some type of activity to get the emotions that's inside of you, that you feel stuck, that's inside of you, out, in some manner, that is healthy. I'll always throw that in there somehow. That is healthy. Um, and then books, I feel like there's a book called Good Grief by, his last name is Westberg, and the first name is Granger. It's called Good Grief. And it is so, it's a small book too, but it was so helpful for me. And I had to read it for class or whatever, but it was so helpful, so helpful to me because it was just so insightful, and it was an easy read, not nothing super deep or hard to get through, but it was an easy read. It was very understandable, and it was very relatable. So I appreciated that book. I think that book is great. It is rooted in Christianity. If, that is a problem, Just wanted to put that out there. But you can, if you can weasel your way through without the scriptures or whatever that it applies, or you can apply your own different tidbits or whatever in there to help you through the little guides that I give. I think it's fantastic to have, and it's not a long read or anything like that, but it's really good. It's really helpful. I also feel like your faith is what will also help you figure out who you are or help you discover who you are after loss. And the change after loss may not be some just super huge big change. It may just be you're more insightful or aware of people's presence in your life. That's not like a huge change, but it is still an eye opener, or it is still very meaningful to you or whatever, because life is precious and now you treat things differently, and that's totally fine. It doesn't have to be some whole 180 and you just this new person that don't nobody recognize. It doesn't have to be that big, but small changes in your life are still important. It's really about what makes you feel like you again, and whether that's the old you or the new you now, it's just what makes you feel like your authentic self, not putting on a show of your happiness for anybody or anything like that, but what really makes you, what brings you joy, what brings you happiness, what makes you sad, what do you like to do in your alone time. Just who you are is what you're trying to discover more of. And I feel like our faith helps ground us when we cannot figure out those big and heavy questions that we have sometimes during grief. And our faith is there for us to lean on when we don't have the answers to those, or those answers take longer than we would want them to. Our faith helps us, so we know that there is someone that's bigger than us or whatever. We can always rely on someone that's bigger than us, that can handle the big questions, that can handle that heavy weight when we don't want to carry it anymore. We can let that off of our shoulders and give that over to him. So faith is also very much so important to our pursuit of self-identity after loss. And then I think I mentioned it before, I'm not too sure, but I feel like also incorporating our children, I did say that, our children into our grief process, but even more so in who we are, because they may be changing as well. If they're old enough to understand, they may also be going through a process of figuring out how is life now after our loss. And I think we as parents try to, shield our kids from feeling any type of hurt, feeling any type of pain. But just like us, they have to process that out as well, and allowing them space to do that, and allowing them space to figure out what now is the new. And sometimes they will be looking to you for that guidance. So allowing them to be with you on the journey of discovering what's new, what's now, and what we should expect now. I think that is super important. I think kids get lost in grief and sometimes feel like they have to do it on their own when we're here, and it's hard for us as well, but incorporating them in the journey is very important, so they know that they still at least have you. That is their constant, even if other things are changing. And then I saw this quote that I wanted to share, and then I will be finished talking. It says, you can't close yourself off to grief without also closing yourself off to joy. I will say it one more time. You can't close yourself off to grief without also closing yourself off to joy. It is a process. If you guard yourself one way, it's like a door. So if you shut the door, your grief has nowhere to go, but also joy is stuck on the opposite side. So we have to open that door to let both flow freely, if that makes any sense. And I am done.
Oh, you are the cutest. Thank you so much. But before you are done, tell the people, because I know, but tell the people a little bit about your art. You're an artist as well. Let's speak to that as well. Where can people find out more about you, your lost journey, or just your journey in general? Where can they connect with you at outside of here?
Okay, yes, I do be forgetting that I'm an artist. I don't know why or how I forget that, but yes, I do. I paint, and my website is myheartspeaks.online. My Instagram is myheartspeaksart, and you can see all of my art on my Instagram and my website. Um, I've actually started a new series on my Instagram where I explain my art pieces and where the visions come from and all of those good things. I started that video series on my Instagram, so you can know a little bit more about me, my visions, where my art stem from, and all of those good things. But yeah, so Instagram, my website. I also have a Facebook. I do have a Facebook. It is My Heart Speaks Art as well, I think. But Instagram is way better than my Facebook, so my Instagram is better.
So I'm gonna have you put that in the chat.
Yes.
All of that in the chat so that people could find you. I also wanted to share one. It's hanging up downstairs, and I don't want to ask Nolan to hold it up to show, but I wanted to share one of your paintings that was inspired by pregnancy and loss. And again, if you follow Shayla on her Instagram, she actually recently just spoke about this painting in particular in one of her series. So I wanted to share it because I just love the painting. It's hanging up in my hallway downstairs. But it's pregnancy and infant loss inspired. And when I first seen it, I was just like, those that are in the pregnancy and infant loss community, when you see a painting similar to the one I'm about to show you that Shayla did, you understand it immediately. I'm just sharing and quit talking. Let me share my screen right quick. Window. Oh, if it let me. It doesn't want to let me, but it's okay. I'm gonna put the link in the bio just so you guys can see it. This again
is it which painting are you trying to? The life one.
Yeah, with the black. Her belly is dark black.
Okay. Oh, Noah has it right there.
Oh, look at that. He went and got it. That my favorite painting. It's in the hallway downstairs. But again, those that are in the pregnancy and infant loss community, I feel like that painting speaks words that we're unable to say, but it is a reality of how we feel. Like when we lose a child, there is a sense of emptiness. There's a sense of death. Like again, the thoughts of, will I ever be able to create life ever again? But that painting just resonates with me, and so I wanted to share. There you go. There's the name of it, Empty Silence. That says a whole lot. So again, thank you so much, Shayla. I did want to say one of the things you said, time heals all wounds if you allow yourself to heal in process. I know we hate the cliche, time heals all wounds, but the reality of it is, I hear echo. You hear echo? I thought I was hearing echo. But the reality of it is, if we allow ourselves the time, the space, if we just allow ourselves and open ourselves up to the process of healing, time really does heal. And no, that's not saying, or saying that we forget all about our loss, like like we act like it never happened. That's not what we're saying. But what we're saying is allowing yourself to go through that process, however long it takes, whatever it looks like, allowing yourself to go through that process, on the other side of that is so much more. And so I just want to thank you, because I just love you so much, for sharing yourself, sharing your words of wisdom. And also, I think, did you put your information in chat? You did not. Oh, you did. Okay, perfect.
I think I did. Mm-hmm.
You did. Okay, great. So also, everyone that is here or attending will be in a raffle. I forgot to tell y'all that in the beginning. So once we wrap this up, we'll do a live raffle and we'll draw a name, and you guys will win some Miracle Speaks merch. It won't be this sweatshirt that Nolan got created for me, but it'll be something. So, but you have to be present in order to win, because if you're not, how are you going to win? So be present. So I do want to throw that out, but I also wanted to share, I think I said the 3Ds. I was putting together like a tips or a guide for pursuing self after loss. And I think one of the things, like when we think about that, a lot of the times on this journey, we're saying, do not compare yourself to someone else's journey, their process, and etc. That is vital, because if you are in the pursuit of yourself, how in the world are you going to find yourself looking at someone else trying to pursue their selves? It ain't gonna work. It doesn't work like that. But also understanding our identity is rooted in our creator, period. Our identity is literally rooted in our creator. So one of the things that I would like to share is that when you are faced with loss, regardless of what type of loss, when you are in that stage of just the unknown and you just flowing, allow yourself to flow and connect back to the source, because that source will guide you as you move forward, heal forward, grow forward. That source, that root, will guide you and help you move forward with trying to find out who you are after experiencing the loss. So I have this, I don't know what you want to call it. I was creating like some tips, like a guide for pursuing yourself after loss. And I came with 3Ds. Loss can do 3 things: define you, dismantle you, or direct you. Loss can do 3 things: define you, dismantle you, or direct you. And so what do I mean? So you have a choice. And as hard as it is to be able to think like I actually have a choice while I'm sitting in so much grief and despair, you really do have a choice. But you have to go through the process to understand, okay, this is what I'm actually going to choose. Am I going to allow this loss to dismantle me, allow it to break me down to where I don't know if I'm coming or going? Am I going to allow it to define me, which means I'm only going to be that person that's tied to my loss? Or am I going to allow it to direct me towards my purpose that I probably had no idea was a part of the plan, but this loss gave me the understanding of that purpose and directed me to that. So again, going through the process of trying to find ourselves after experiencing a loss. It's not pretty, it's not easy, it's not a walk in the park, but giving yourself permission to say and to feel, okay, I don't know what tomorrow's going to look like, but for today, I'm making the choice to put one foot in front of the other and see what it brings me today. Because as long as you make a choice to at least try, to at least strive, then you're doing part of the work right there. The hardest part is doing it. We can have it in our minds like, I'm gonna do it, oh maybe I might, but when you actually physically are putting it into motion, you're putting it out there that you're even trying to move forward, it's only going to come back to you. The saying, you put out what you get out what you put in. You put in effort, you're going to feel the effort come back to you. God going to meet you somewhere in there. I promise. So I just want to thank you, Shayla, again for sharing those amazing words. You know how I feel about you. You are my girl. So I thank you, thank you, thank you. And so we're going to keep moving forward. I just gave some little closing remarks and my own little tips and pointers in regards to pursuit of loss. But before we do a moment of silence honoring our angel babies, I just want to open up the floor. If anyone has comments, questions, thoughts, whatever you would like to share, anything you would like to share at this point, feel free to chime in. And if not, we will roll on through. Don't speak all at once. All right, we're going to roll it. Not going to drag this thing. So I do, again, I don't know if it's going to allow me to share like I just tried to and it didn't. Oh, there we go. Can you guys see this? Shucks. Can you see this? Anybody? Anybody? Oh, okay, you can. Okay, perfect. So we're just going to have a moment of silence. I'll read these angel baby names. These are angel baby names, or angel babies that we have come to know and love by way of Miracle Speaks. And so I will read these names and we'll just have a moment of silence just to honor and to recognize them, but to also think about the parents of these angel babies, and just pray that wherever they are in their journeys, that God has them wrapped in his arms, and is carrying them through the process. So I'll begin reading. Miracle Michelle Alea Pratcher, Baby Williams, Hazel Grace Johnson, Grayson James Bates, Anima Graham, Jaden Alexandra Strokes, Harper Rain Strokes, Malik Yusuf, Tidwell Muhammad, Kamor and Amor Collins, Baby Barbie, Con Twins, Baby Carter, Mason Tanner Lee Boyd, Baby Johnson, Baby Collins, Zayn Malachi, Jericho Muhammad, Jamal Isaiah Captain Mosley, Baby Johnson, and Jair Muhammad. And we'll have just a moment of silence just to remember them and their parents. And we will forever, always honor and remember not just the ones that are listed on that list, but every single one, even the ones that are unspoken, unnamed. We will always forever honor and remember them. So I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. I told y'all we would not be on here long, and I meant it. But thank you to you again, Shayla, to my madre, Karana, for the poem reading. And just for each and every one of you being present, you didn't have to, but you did, and I appreciate you so much. But I told you guys we were doing a raffle just a couple minutes ago. I forgot to tell y'all that in the beginning. So I'm gonna put each and every one of you into the raffle, and we are gonna draw the names while you guys are still on this beautiful gathering. And let's see who's about to win some Miracle Speaks merch. Let's see. Is there anyone that does not want to be a part of the raffle? Anyone? Anybody? Anybody? Okay. All right.
You can count me out.
Oh, okay. Great. Thanks. Anybody else? Okay, let's go. We have Shayla. We have Karana. We have, we'll put Nikki, my sis. We'll have Star. Who else is on here? Miracle, I see you. Is that it? Karana, Shayla, Miracle. Oh, Gracie. Cannot forget Graciela. All right, that's everybody. Let's share and see who's going to be winning. Let's see. All right, here we go. I didn't mean to do that, you guys, but
Oh man, that looks cool. I wanted to be added in.
looks like well, congrats to my dear sister Nicole. She is our winner. And we'll be winning some merch. And the good thing is I don't have to mail it off because she'll be here within a week. So perfect. But thank you all. If for any reason y'all want to purchase Miracle Speaks merch, you're more than welcome to head over to the website and shop around over there. We got some cool stuff over there. And I don't know, anything else? Anyone else have any closing remarks, suggestions, love, thank yous, whatever, before we close this thing out?
Nope, I loved it. I mean, Nikki's not on here anymore, so does she still win?
She left after I said she won. Yes, we'll let her claim it. We'll let her. She was here. She was present. That was a rule that I did not tell anybody. So we'll let her do that. But anyone else, I definitely appreciate you all. You'll probably receive an email following up about this event. So don't be surprised if you do. It will be shared on Facebook, YouTube, Miracle Speaks YouTube, and it'll be on our website as well. Yes, Karana.
I just wanted to thank Shayla. Her story was amazing. Your strength is amazing. And I'm really, really glad you did an amazing job. So thank you a lot.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
We'll have to have you again. Maybe not on this format, but maybe we'll interview you again. It's been a while.
It has. I'm up for an interview.
Okay, it makes me happy. All right, I love you, good people. I thank you all for letting me, just for joining in on such a special occasion. Remember, share the story, share the events. If you know someone that needs resources or needs to be connected to someone that can provide resources, connect them to us, send them to our Facebook, send them to our Instagram or our website. We're here. But until next time, I love you all and thank you. And thank you. Happy Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month 2021.
Yes.
Thank you guys. Love you, Amy. I see you. Yeah, you won, sis. You won.
I'm gonna be there to get my merch. I'll be at the door.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Thank
peace and
you.
blessings, y'all.
Bye, you guys.
Yes. Bye-bye. Have a blessed evening.
Thank you. Thank you for
Everyone
joining
stay
me.
safe. You're welcome.